Welcome back, everybody. Clint today with Classic Firearms out here at the beautiful Ridgeline Defense Facility in northern New Hampshire that SureFire has been kind enough to invite us to. Andrew, thank you so much, man.
Thank you for coming out.
Absolutely, and the reason we're here is because of this little guy. This is the new SureFire RC3 reduced back pressure silencer, and we've got Andrew just, ultimately all I want you to do is compare the two. Because the RC2, which is so well known, has such a great reputation. I've beaten the living crap out of mine. I've shot it off my gun when it was carbon locked at one point, which again, hurt the silencer none. You know, and I've just been super impressed with this. And from what I understand now is that this does pretty much everything this does, but kind of better.
Yeah, so, you know, if you guys are familiar with the previous SOCOM line of suppressors, the RC and then the RC2, what we brought to the table is kind of the best, in our eyes, fighting suppressor overall. Generally with performance parameters on suppressors, there's give and take, meaning if you want it to be quieter, you might be getting bigger. If you want it to be more durable, you might be gaining weight. You know, if you want it to be lighter, you might be sacrificing durability, all of that stuff. So generally there's no free lunch with performance parameters, but what we brought to the table was kind of the best combination of all those attributes from a warfighting perspective for like a combat suppressor. You know, it's not super big. It's, you know, in the middle range as far as weight goes, but it's super durable. You know, accuracy wise, it's repeatable. It's a very minimal impact shift with our mounting mechanism. Flash reduction is super good on the SOCOM line of suppressors, first round flash and subsequent round flash. With the RC3, we've kept all of those performance parameters and reduced back pressure by 60%.
That's impressive.
Yeah, exactly. That's the huge thing. And you know, flash performance, everything is still the same. Actually, flash got a little bit better. Mounts are still the SOCOM line of mounts, so it's backwards compatible with all the previous SOCOM mounts that are out there. But yeah, what the lower back pressure does for you, I'm sure you're aware. In case you're not, it's going to reduce the amount of wear and tear on guns. So it's going to also put less gas in your face, less toxic fumes in your face, make it a nicer shooting experience. The gun feels more controllable with less back pressure. Overall, everything is better, less wear and tear on parts. And so it's a super nice suppressor to shoot. And something to comment on that as well, when it comes to reduced back pressure, it also really helps with quicker follow-up shots. Because if you've got, for instance, the RC2 is still a fantastic silencer. MSRP is a what, 1099? 1090, yep.
1090 for this guy, and MSRP on this one a little bit more.
1799.
1799, but you are getting that reduced back pressure.
Correct.
And yeah, those gases, more gases escaping out the muzzle instead of coming back into the system. But to talk a little bit more about that, as Andrew's already stated, it's reduced wear and tear on the gun, because one thing that I've noticed while shooting is noticing we're all running 11.5-inch BCM rifles out here. And if you throw the RC2 on there, you're getting about that 2 o'clock ejection. Right? With the RC3, I'm getting that perfect 3 to 4 o'clock. And something that you'll notice is that's going to be ultimately making those parts come back into the gun a little bit harder. So again, you've got more pressures, right? But on top of that, what that does is now all of a sudden, because you're having a little bit more felt recoil because of those moving parts moving at an accelerated speed, you're going to have a little bit more muzzle shift, muzzle rise, so much, again, a little bit more felt recoil. And something I've noticed when we did a straight comparison going from the RC2 to the RC3 is it is easier to maintain or stay on target for those quicker follow-up shots, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. With the RC3, it affects the firearm much less. You're definitely able to control your splits, much easier out of the box. Obviously, with an RC2, if you're running it on a dedicated gun, or you're going to be shooting mostly suppressed, you can definitely set up a gun to be better or to perform better, with an increased back pressure suppressor. So you can, do stuff with the buffer. You can do stuff with an adjustable gas block. You can tune it to be proper. Most guns out of the box are usually overgassed, and adding a suppressor just kind of makes that issue exacerbated a little. So RC3 definitely helps with that, meaning it doesn't affect the firearm nearly as much, and you can definitely shoot faster.
What is the weight difference between the two?
There's no weight.
As I say, they feel pretty dang similar.
Yeah, they're exactly the same, 17 ounces.
And again, as Andrew's already stated too, the locking collar, it is also compatible with all other SureFire QD mounts out there, even the ones that are nice and gunked up like mine. And as you can tell, it fits perfectly. There's no wobble, none of that, so it's going to stay exactly where you want it to when you shoot. So again, man, I think you guys have done a really good job on this. You guys are going to be seeing some B-roll, some footage of us doing our live fire demonstration here, but also some low light. So we will see again that first round flash, or I should say lack thereof.
Exactly.
And also compare it to the RC2. And I have done comparison to other silencers in the past and everything, and something I've always held or complimented the RC2 on is that flash that it has is it's really not a lot.
No.
It's just a sharp sting. It's kind of like a sharp little arrow.
Yep.
And so
like a sushi pencil.
Yeah, right. And from what you're explaining to me, and of course it's pretty bright out here right now, so we don't see it until later, that there's actually even less than on the RC3.
Yeah, it's slightly better performing with flash.
Yeah,
which is incredible. And the main thing is, first round flash is super hard to mitigate.
Yeah.
And then subsequent round, once the can gets hot,
Right.
And so yeah, it took us a long time to develop. This has been in development for just under 3 years.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of time and effort, a lot of really brilliant minds behind it, and we're stoked to have it finally hit the market.
Right. So again, guys, take into consideration everything that you've heard just now. If you want to go ahead and pick up an RC2, we're not saying anything bad about this. This is obviously a very proven, highly reputed silencer that I'm not going to throw this away. This is still going to be running on my Mark 18 all the time.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you, I think I will have a little bit better shooting experience because, again, more gases escaping out the front of the gun, and that reduced back pressure with the RC3. So again, I do have my Mark 18 out here, obviously. We'll be running both of those a little bit later so you guys can see exactly how those perform side by side. And yes, of course, I do have my Mark 18 out here, so I will be doing a comparison between the two and giving you guys that firsthand experience about how it feels to shoot between the RC2 and RC3. So now we're over here with the Mark 18, which is a 10.3 inch barrel. This is my personal rifle that has a lot of rounds to it, all right? And we've got the RC2 on it, which is the SureFire silencer that I've been running on this gun for years now that has never failed me. I've never had any issues out of this whatsoever. Did get it carbon locked one time, which is ultimately the collar is loose, but the can won't come off. And SureFire says, oh, if it does that, just, send a round down range after you loosen the collar and you pretty much just shoot that thing off of there. After doing that one time, I got a dent on the can right back here, and that's never stopped me from running it, and I have had zero issues with it whatsoever. Now, something else can be really interesting is we were talking about it back at the table with Andrew. What ultimately I want to do now is actually shoot the RC2, just run a couple of rounds through it, and then throw the RC3 on it, which I have right back here, and compare, see if I can tell a difference, if there's a noticeable difference between all the gases exiting, more of the gases exiting out the front of the gun versus coming back into the system like with the RC2. Again, fantastic silencer, but the RC3 just has that little bit less back pressure. Well, not a little bit, 60% less back pressure. So let's just go ahead and try it and see how it feels here. So yeah, even just shooting that little bit, again, it's one of those things where maybe under stress, you're probably not gonna notice it or whatever, but just underneath the glasses, I'm noticing a little gas coming up. And I do have the Geisley supercharging handle over here, which is something I really do like. And you just know that it's a gassy gun as it is. Daniel Defense, I'm assuming still today, but definitely in some of their earlier guns like this one, they're gassy. They're made to run, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. So now let's go ahead and just clear this guy. And let's get the can off. And let's go ahead and throw on the RC3. Good, nice and tight. And just because ammo is expensive, we're gonna put that round back in there, all right? Now let's see how it feels with the RC3. So yeah, I can still taste that I'm shooting a 10.3 inch suppressed gun, but there is a noticeable difference, at least to me. Can I tell that the can is barely louder? Again, barely, not really. But again, just having that 60% less back pressure in already a super gassy gun, there is a difference. And it's one too, I didn't notice any gas coming up underneath my glasses, so that's less gas getting into the upper receiver and traveling back into the charging handle and then coming back underneath my glasses. It was a lot more comfortable of a shooting, it was just more comfortable to shoot. So the RC3 definitely has proven itself already, especially with how many rounds. I mean, we've got to be at least pushing 1,000 rounds, if not more now, just through the training that we've been doing out here these past couple of days. And this can is already proving itself to be super reliable. And again, I've been running this whole course without ears. Is that smart? Probably not. But at the end of the day, I have not had any ringing in the ears or anything like that. It's been very comfortable. It's been pleasurable. It's been nice to actually hear the instructors and the guys next to me and what's going on. And again, I'm just doing it. I'm sacrificing my body so that way you guys get the best content, okay? Actually, I'm not sacrificing much because honestly, these cans are quiet and they do a great job. So anyway, just figured I want to show you guys that on the Mark 18. Yeah. And I know the guys down at Ridgeline are probably waiting for us, so let's go ahead and head down there. But by the way, don't forget to go ahead and check out our footage from day 1, 2, and 3, because we've done a lot of cool stuff that you haven't seen just yet. We haven't done the rally driving just yet, which from what I understand, we got some Ford Fiestas out here that we're gonna be.
Yeah, we're gonna be ripping. It's gonna be fun.
We are at the RC3 rally, so.
That's right.
All right, great. Andrew, thanks again, man.
Dude, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.